It doesn't matter who you are, if your tank's big enough, somebody out there will be wanting to empty it.
Once thieves targeted Britain's villages for the lead on the roofs of the parish church. But now there's a new crime wave sweeping across the countryside.
Whether it's stealing from the church or stealing from people's homes, they simply don't care what effect they may have on the people they're stealing from.
As fuel prices soar to record highs, ingenious thieves are turning their attention to a profitable market closer to home. The oil that heats Britain's homes and the fuel that powers our cars.
This picturesque village in Carmarthenshire seems an unlikely setting for a crime, but a series of robberies has shattered the rural calm. When thieves raided the oil tank at this vicarage, local parishioners were left in the cold.
So how did you first find out that this had been siphoned out?
Well, we got a very loyal congregation here, and some of the men had been round doing the lawn, and when they came round one morning to mow the lawn, they realised that the tank had been broken into, this tube out of place and the feed pipe cut.
So how do you think they actually got into this oil then?
Well, I wonder if they had a truck in the road and then hose pipes and pump. They were equipped, they were organised, they knew what they were doing.
The crimes affected the whole parish. Reverend Davison has gathered his flock to discuss what to do about the theft which has left his church without heating for 6 months.
It may be possible to get back onto gas again. We can look into it and get a price for it anyway.
So what do you think then are the people that have done this?
Well, that's the point. They simply don't care what effect they have on people. They're just after their own immediate interests.
These tankers may seem odd to city dwellers used to the ease of mains gas, but they're a familiar sight for the 2 million people in rural Britain who rely on oil to heat their homes. With no access to a gas pipe, they're forced to rely on the black gold no matter how high the price soars.
So this seems to be sort of prevalent round here, this theft of oil. How many times have you seen it?
It is a problem. In the last 6 months we've had 40 incidents reported to us.
And as the value of heating oil spirals upwards, so does its attraction to criminal gangs across the country. Leading the fight back is PC Robert Chapman. He's spreading the word to homeowners targeted for their oil that there are steps that you can take to deter the thieves.
Safety officer from Ammanford. We've produced a leaflet on how to look after your heating oil and your tank.
So what tips have you got for people to protect their oil?
Put a screen around the tank, try and shield it from view. That can be fencing or trellis work or even thorny bushes, anything to prevent people getting to the tank. If it's a steel tank, put a quality close shackled padlock. The only other tip is that if you're having a delivery, find out from your local oil delivery company what the smallest amount is that you can have, and then you can have smaller deliveries but more frequent.
But fuel theft isn't just confined to the countryside. Across the UK, criminal gangs have got their eye on another abundant source of fuel: the petrol in our cars.
So valuable has the contents of the fuel tank of even an everyday runabout become that your motor is not safe even in your own driveway.
This was the area where all the fuel was spilled, all over the drive. The police said this type of car has a plastic tank and it was very easy to pierce.
Elaine didn't just lose a tank of petrol, the thieves also caused hundreds of pounds worth of damage.
And it was leaking out everywhere. I'm really, really worried about the fire risk and did not sleep at all that evening.
The fear of being targeted for fuel isn't confined to Britain's family motorist. It's also a real threat to the nation's truckers. The more money they lose to the thieves, the more money we end up paying for the goods they deliver to the shops. Welsh haulier Larry Vasey was a victim of fuel theft 8 times in 6 weeks.
And probably didn't realise it was just a small firm. You know, a larger firm could stand it, but I certainly couldn't. You know, £1,000 worth of fuel in 6 weeks was a vast amount as far as I was concerned.
And I guess that's in addition to the repairs.
In addition to the repairs, yeah. It was about £1,500 altogether within a period of 6 weeks, so that was disastrous.
Suck it out.
Motoring writer Gary Champion normally advises the nation's drivers which new model to buy, but this new crime wave is forcing him to offer more down-to-earth advice, whatever the size of the vehicle.
When you get home, don't just leave the car in the driveway either. Move the car around. Make sure that the back of the car, for example, is reversed up to the garage door if you've got it, or better still, put it in the garage. Forget all the junk that you keep in the garage, put your car in it. There are devices, I mean this is one particularly that you can put in. What you do is you undo this, pop it inside, it bolts in. If you were to put a hose in there, attach it to a pump and try and suck it back out, it can't get into anything, it can't get into any liquid as such. And these things, which fit on a lorry, you can also fit on a car.
As oil prices continue to soar, making our fuel ever more attractive to the criminals, that sounds like a good idea to me.